educationists approved this year's budget, which included an 11% increase in funding for the education sector. This is also the first year that the funds allocated have exceeded Rs 1 lakh crore. The government set aside Rs 99,311 crore for 2021 last year. One of the most important takeaways from Budget 2022 is the emphasis on digitizing Indian education. Recognizing a gap in student education, the government announced the establishment of a digital university, a one classroom, one channel program, 750 virtual labs for science and mathematics, and the Desh Stack e-portal for skilling. While initiatives such as the Samagra Shiksha Abhiyan, the Department of School Education and Literacy, and the Department of Higher Education have seen funding increases of 20%, 13.51%, and 6.6% respectively. However, the budget for the sector remains around 3% of GDP, which is still less than the NEP 2020 target of 6%. Talking to SME Futures, educationist Lisa Bal feels the budget was a hit and miss for the sector.
The digital university is definitely a great idea, excellent idea. I would say it's going to be a great source of information for all the central universities and all the private universities. But when it comes to the e-learning and the channel, 12 to 200 channels for every subject, and getting into the e-learning, I don't think it will be a huge problem, and there is a gap there because there's an inequality in our rural India in the weaker section of our society. NEP has suggested 6% of the GDP. When the National Education Policy has suggested that, and we are at 3%, I'm sure they will look into it in gradually in the years to come. But yes, we have lot of, like, if you look at the government schools, the Anganwadis, we need a lot of money there, lot of training, lot of teachers. They are not in a good shape. But I think yes, if the allocation goes up, we can have more teachers, we can have more trainings, we can have more resources, we can have more infra funding on infra, and more spending.
While the budget is clearly pro-digital, there are some immediate challenges that must be addressed. These are digital divide, teachers training, and access to devices.
I don't think it's the divide is huge, and with this pandemic has a great impact on the loss. Well, you need to train up the teachers to supplement the learning gap that has already been there and already is taking place. And teachers should also know how to handle the digital mode, the e-learning, and how to address the gap, and the objective of a classroom is there defined. But we also, through digitization, we need to understand how do we meet the outcome. So that has to be properly researched upon, that has to be properly worked upon. But I feel that yes, we need to have that connectivity in the rural India. But after that, you need to be also understanding how children are imbibing the learning, whether it is happening or not. That process has to be also taken into account. If something is introduced, we have to see that the outcome is met or not. In rural India, in the other provinces where the digital gap is huge, yes. So for this to reach out and to be, and all our teachers should be also well trained and upgraded.
The pandemic was unprecedented for everyone, including the education sector. But teachers persevered, and a hybrid approach to education has now taken over the system. However, Bal believes that the digital method will never be able to replace traditional methods of education.
And if you look at early childhood education and care, that starts from 3 years onwards till grade 8, till 8 years. And if we don't have those children, we can't make those children sit in front of the TV or take a phone or do the gross motor, the motor skill training, and learn through TV, learn through devices, learn through without a touch or a tactile or a emotional, contact, which usually schools in person we do it, because that is the way we have to build our foundational years. How otherwise you are going to build the foundational years? It's very difficult through TV, through devices, through gadgets, through a digital mode. And for that, teachers are not well prepared. When the pandemic happened and it hit us, our teachers were not in place. they had to be trained overnight. So I don't think e-learning is a supplement to face-to-face in-person learning. For me, e-learning is something which should be part of it, not something which will be alternative to in-person learning. In-person learning is the only way when it comes to uh, giving our children the proper pedagogy, the proper methodology, and the proper learning in classroom. And that can only happen in the campus. That can happen only in person and offline classes. Digital platform and e-learning can only supplement it. It cannot take the place of in person learning. It's not possible.
Right.